You ought to hit your mic.
Meeting was called to order at 7:02, and with Ben Goodwin on my left, I'm the chair, David Erickson, and I move that we nominate Laurie McKenzie, Steve Bartlett to be voting members for tonight, so that we now have 4 members and we can conduct business.
A second that.
All right, and the 2 of us in favor?
Yes.
We can move ahead. Very good. First item of business was to accept the minutes from the last meeting, but having only 2 of us, Laurie and myself, who were here for the last meeting, it feels like we should wait and do the acceptance of the minutes at our November meeting. Next, I put down a discussion and vote, or the next steps, if we choose to go that route, on the Kearsarge Energy proposal, which Steve Bartlett brought this to our attention, that the town could be paid around $2,000 a year, moving on up over the years to around.
Depending upon usage, depends on where the value of the money comes in. So the more the town uses, the greater the sum. Kearsarge is a solar company, basically, and they're required to pay funds to public entities, towns, school boards, that kind of stuff. And we had a presentation by Malcolm, and I can't think of Malcolm's last name, from Kearsarge a few months ago, and I think we've reached a point where we need to either move forward or thank them very much for the presentation and don't.
I agree. I did some research and asked our Clean Energy New Hampshire circuit rider, whose name is Sarah Brock, what she thought. She said it's always best to own the solar, for the town to own the solar if possible, because we get the maximum payback.
But this is a way for the town not to own the solar, correct? But it's also a way for the town not to put up the money to put up a solar array somewhere, and to at least get funds for buildings that will never have solar on them.
So, as we've discussed it at previous meetings, we've said we would carve out the safety complex, because we're in the process of putting solar with the help of a grant from New Hampshire DOE on that building. I would like to also recommend carving out the transfer station, because there is a south-facing roof of a nice shed there, 60 feet by over 100 feet. That would be ideal solar.
That would be at the Public Works building,
It's not the garage, it's,
the shed next to it.
yeah, it's over on the transfer station side. They store bales of recyclables in there. I think they put salt and sand in there too.
Okay?
So that would be my recommendation. And then we would have to come up with then what, we'd get a more specific bid from Malcolm
You could, yeah,
with that, those 2 carve-outs.
yeah, you could. It's a 20-year contract, I get that, but it's one of those things where, yeah, we don't own it, but we get a benefit for it. To the point where, at this point, at least the town could still mail out registration applications, which they've stopped doing because it costs too much money. So this is a way to make up that loss, and still get, I don't know, for example, you instead of getting an email saying, hey, come in and register your car. You know, you can get them, you can go, they go back to mailing them, you know. But everything you carve out takes away from the bid.
Yeah.
So, do you think you're gonna possibly ever get solar over there?
I'm more optimistic than you are, I think. It looks like solar is getting cheaper and cheaper, and the payback period is getting shorter and shorter, so that it's getting to make a whole lot more sense than using natural gas and fuel oil. So
Were there other sites being discussed?
Both substations for the fire department, the one down on 114, the one over on 77, it would be any town-owned building that uses power. So this building, the school belongs to the SAU, so the schools don't count. The SAU could apply for themselves as well to get their break. Contract's probably not the right word, but they're required to provide a percentage of the funds they develop or earn back to public entities. So other towns have done the application. I think New Boston was one. There's a whole bunch of them, I don't have it in front of me, that have all grabbed basically the free cash, because it doesn't require anything from the town other than we'll accept the money, and then you have a contract with them for 20 years.
But you have to provide a place for them to generate. Right?
No.
No, they have their own generating farms. They're required by charter to provide to public entities a percentage, small percentage.
I
but
think it was
still
10%, yeah,
It could have been.
total.
Of our usage. So there's nothing coming out of the town's pocket. It's basically free cash, but it is a 20-year contract.
Yeah, which you're not supposed to back out of.
Right, unless somebody breaks the contract, either, you know, if they do, not likely.
So,
So if we don't have to do anything,
We don't have to do it. It doesn't require a thing from us. It doesn't require.
so why don't we already have a contract?
That was my question.
because it prevents us from developing any solar of our own that would generate power,
So if we wanted to put a solar farm in the transfer station, we couldn't do it if we had a contract with Kearsarge for being paid for the electricity that that the transfer station uses. So buildings that don't have any real chance of having a solar array, like the Ware Fire Station down on 114. I mean, that's basically tucked into the woods, and it's on the south side, so there's no way you're gonna get a solar array in there. So, you know, that uses power every day. This building uses power every day. Transfer station, the fire station out on 77, the police, the fire building, I don't know what other public buildings we have. The Stone Library, the library, those things all use power. So if we sign a contract with them, we have a contract with them, they're gonna pay us a percentage of the electric bill. Bam, free cash to the town, that's what it is. But it is a 20-year contract, so we have a grant for solar on the public, the police and fire building. Fine, got it, so that can't be part of the contract with Kearsarge. David thinks we're gonna have solar array, or maybe get a second grant and put a solar array to cover the electrical costs at the transfer station or the public works building, then fine. Then you probably can't include that in the contract with Kearsarge. But this way, to me, it made the most sense as it was an easy an easy way to raise a couple of grand a year for the town, cover something.
Yeah. I think that feels like a compromise to me, that we're reserving some ability to develop solar, but we're trying to get some cash out of, the, yeah.
What they do
For
is
the other
they
generation.
go into a town like Farmington, they're putting in a huge array in Farmington, but because they're putting it in there, they have to, by charter or law, have to provide public entities, you know.
Sure, I understand that. What, my question is if we do start generating electricity at the safety complex,
Right,
and we do start generating our own at Public Works and the transfer station, is there a percentage or a amount of money? So say we generate enough to save, just a number, $10,000 a year in electricity,
right.
okay? We're generating our own, we're saving $10,000 a year. Kearsarge gives us $2,000 a year for
Right.
the other buildings that are not
Whatever,
part of that.
Based on their usage, yes, correct.
So that would be 20% of our total. Would they then deduct 20% of what their grant is for us?
No, they base it off of the utility bills for the buildings that they are.
That are part of the contract?
Separate of the safety complex and the transfer station. So if you carve those two
This
out,
seems like a no-brainer. Why aren't
to
we doing
me,
this?
it was a no-brainer, but it didn't seem to fly.
Yeah,
I was worried about the restrictions down the road, and, but I think.
no,
this-
I understand your concern. So we don't include the
If you don't
Public Works and
include those
Transfer
two-
Station, and we don't include the safety complex,
You're fine.
then we include the town hall and the library and the stone building and the fire stations
Yeah,
that aren't included. Why not do this?
why not?
Do you want to
was
bring
my
that to
thought.
the select
Yeah, I
board
can do that.
for it? Great.
That's fine.
So, I have to
If
kind
all,
of come
if
up
all it
with a,
requires is a couple of signatures and a promise in 20 years not to put solar on those buildings that we're never gonna put solar on anyway,
Correct, that was my feeling.
okay,
Done,
Yeah.
easy peasy.
yeah, thanks for the money.
all right. I will try to word I'm taking the minutes, and, because nobody else, I didn't ask anyone else, and so I'm doing double duty here. So, discussion of Kearsarge, and I'll just abbreviate. Who would like to make a motion on that? Do you want to do that, Steve?
I'll make a motion that we recommend to the select board that we accept a contract for the public buildings in the town of Ware, other than the safety complex and the transfer station.
Only change I'd make is to say, we ask Kearsarge to give us a new bid on, and,
We'd have to give them the bills again. They would have, that's the only thing you'd have to do.
Yeah.
Is give them the current utility bills from, the buildings that would be included.
is it Kearsarge Energy? Is that what
It is Kearsarge Energy.
I don't see why you need a new bid. It's like, again, it's free cash to buildings that we are never going to put solar on. It may not be a lot of money, but money is money.
We don't know the amount at this point, but,
No, we do not.
but even,
But you could get a bid from, the select board can get the bid from them
yeah.
and get it moving.
So I'll say, instead of the way I was writing it, Steve Bartlett recommended that we, what's the word? Empower or something, Ben to recommend to the select board that we move ahead with a contract with Kearsarge Energy. Of course, I'll clean these up later. energy use at the safety complex. Transfer station and town garage, is that what we call it, DPW?
Well, it would be both the transfer station and the highway garage, right? Or the
Highway Department
public
building?
works building.
I'll find out the official name.
Yeah.
And therefore includes the energy use of all other town buildings. This one, the little kindergarten, the 2 fire stations.
Stone buildings,
Stone.
library.
Oh, yeah, the library's kind of a, neither goat nor sheep. It's not run by the town, but it's, I don't know. I need to clarify the finances for the library. That'll come up with some other stuff. All right, do you need that read back, or is that good enough? Do you understand the?
I understand. You're
You-
you're leaving out DPW, transfer station, and the safety complex.
Good.
Everything else is in play. Yep,
All right, I could second that.
okay.
So Steve moved, I should have said, and I second. He seconded, come on. All those, any further discussion, I guess I should say? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, no abstentions or disagreement, so 4-0-0. Great. It took a long time for us to get to
My flight
You
was
know.
12 hours late the last time, so I didn't make the meeting.
yeah, I didn't want to go ahead with it without you here, because it was your
It was fine,
thing.
yeah. Sat in the airport for 12 hours, that was fine. No. Oh, well.
Okay. Wow. I mixed concrete today instead of preparing a report on the Local Energy Solutions Conference, but I did go. It's put on by Clean Energy New Hampshire. They give us 2 free tickets. And we lucked out in that Laurie made the suggestion that we get a high school student involved. And so I called Joab Owen at the high school, who does the tech ed and shop classes there. And he said, I think I know who I should send. And it turned out that 2 people came. The student he had in mind brought along a friend, and they were fantastic. They were so enthusiastic that Sarah Brock said, we're going to have to try to do this every year to get high school students to this conference. They were asking good questions. Of course, there were a lot of things that was hard for them to follow, you know, when you have people talking about RFPs and, you know, all kinds of word salad. But I would try to whisper stuff to them when we were at the same places, but they went off to their own workshops, different ones than I did. I went to one on EVs, electric vehicles, because I was fascinated to see with the loss of incentives in this new administration, what were the thoughts on what was going to happen next. We had the president of the New Hampshire Auto Dealers Association was there. The owner-operator of Greenwave EVs, which sells used EVs over in just south of Portsmouth. I guess it's Hampton, maybe? It's on the seacoast. I'd been over there with a friend buying an EV over there, just in time to catch the incentive at the end of, 30th of September was the end of that incentive. And the third person was CEO, I believe, of a charging network company. The consensus was that EVs were now practical enough that they will sell without the incentive, and we'll find out. You know, we could start finding out this month whether that's the case or not. I just bought another one without the incentive, because you can't take it twice. I took one on the little Chevy Bolt that I bought in '22, and I totaled it. So I replaced it with an almost identical one. To me, it just works for my lifestyle. It doesn't work for everybody. The other thing they said was that something really missing from the EV market is a small pickup. You can get a Hummer, you can get a Rivian for about, I think, $80,000 or something. You know, it's a rich person's vehicle. There's no, Ford Ranger of the EV market, and they're hoping that
The Lightning is like an F-150.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
same.
not small, but it's also not a Hummer,
Right,
so, and not 80,000, I mean, they can be 80,000.
yeah, if you get the leather and
Right,
this and that.
right, but, yeah,
And those are selling.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
see them on the road. I think you can get a range of over 300 with them now, so. Yeah, it's, Hyundai is creating all kinds of new models, and so it was interesting to me to attend that. I don't know that I can remember what workshop I went without having my notes in front of me, which I don't have. So I may add a little bit to this next time.
Did you have the opportunity to talk to one or both of the students about attending our meetings, getting involved in any kind of way?
I just invited them.
Just to the conference?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe,
I mean, I invited them to come to our meetings.
oh,
as
you
well.
did? Oh, so you did have, okay. Awesome.
I could, with a teenager following up would be a good idea, so.
Sure, well, also, because I put a ton of energy into getting students involved in the expo, and I didn't have any luck at John Stark. I've had luck at Bow, but the event also is in Bow, so that tracks.
That makes it easy.
But I would be curious, who they are, and I might reach out to them in the future.
Okay, I will see if I can do that through the main office or something. I failed to get the right spelling of the second student,
Okay.
but I know I have the first one.
Well, your contact in the tech,
Joe
he would-
Bowen.
Yeah, he would know, seemed to me.
Okay, yeah, I hope others of you will be able to go to that another year, because it's, there are all kinds of vendors you can go to, and, that was one other nice little connection for the students. They were talking with a wood boiler manufacturer, and they realized after a little conversation that they made the boiler at John Stark, so. The wood chip boiler that heats our high school.
It's a really nice perk, too, that we get from our support of Clean Energy New Hampshire. I really like that relationship.
Yeah, it's a good lunch, too.
Oh, good. You're welcome.
Yeah, and the students, nobody complained that there were two of them there.
Oh, good. I would hope not.
They were pleased to have it.
Good.
Well, Chris was gonna be the one to update us on New Hampshire Saves energy projects, but I know that the low-hanging fruit we've determined would be attic of this building, attic of the library, and lights at the police station. So I'll reach out to Chris, and if he wants me to, I'll reach out to those 3 places. I did speak with Clay, the librarian. Last name eluding me at the moment. You know Clay's last name. He said he thinks they may come up with some independent fundraising, but they should still get the New Hampshire Saves funding, I would think. Well, why not, if New Hampshire Saves would pay for half of it, so.
And New Hampshire Saves will be at the expo, so if anyone's interested in attending and wants to just take that opportunity to chat with them, they will be there.
Okay. Because we ought to move ahead on getting, New Hampshire Saves will, working with Eversource, will get us contract proposals for, you know, what the cost sharing is and what the outlay by the town will be. More on the New Hampshire Expo? Do you wanna?
Sure, I mean, Chris and Charles were supposed to put something together so that we could set up a little video thing to let the public know what we're doing. In that opportunity, the table that I reserved for us is near an outlet, so we can certainly still do that. I would need to pick up at whatever, or have them set it up, and we'll be there to set up Friday evening, and then Saturday starting at, like, I don't know, 8:30 or so. I'll be there, and I also have a raffle prize available. I'm not gonna set up, you know, the raffle prize if we don't have any presentation set up at all. But we do have, you know, we have space, it's available to us. And Harry, which is Hillsborough Area Renewable Energy Initiative, they're a nonprofit, and they help with homeowners DIYing solar. They're gonna be there, and they're, you know, from right around here.
Yeah.
So Life Forest is another one. They have, you know, burial options. They're set up in Hillsborough. And then the other one, most of them are return exhibits, but there's a window dresser that's new, and they're helping people save energy.
Are they the one where you get together and make them?
I think so. I'm looking for them now.
People have told me that that can actually be a lot of fun. You, like for this building.
Right.
You could fit out this room with a lot of work tables, and a
Yeah.
bunch of people come in, they build the shades that slide up and down, the heat saving and sun blocking shades. And
Right. And
installed by the end of the weekend.
right, they're supposed to be there. I don't see them listed here. But, and whoever their marketing person is, they were all over the place, you know, a couple of months ago. But I don't know, I can't seem to find them here. But anyway, so those are just some of the things, you know, there's HVAC, of course, lots of splits, lots of solar, and Bow Plumbing and Heating, they're with us every year. And then we've got the committees for the towns, and, you know, we're welcome to do something. I reached out to Chris, but I don't know. I think Charles was the one who had the monitor and the means to sort of plug stuff in, but
Do you want to reach out to one or both of them and see if,
I reached out to Chris. I sent him an email, just as soon as you said he wasn't gonna attend, because I figured I would talk to him tonight.
hopefully he'll
but-
get back to you.
Yeah,
Hari is a group that I've gone to 2 of their raisers, they call
oh,
them.
so you participated? Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
They're a cool group, a lot of knowledge, and they, so I helped install solar on 2 people's homes, garages actually in both cases.
What towns?
Hopkinton, most recently Hollis.
Oh,
previously.
okay.
Yeah, they are generally Hillsborough County.
I was gonna
but
say
they-
Hillsborough County, yeah,
But they were over the line in Hopkinton there.
yeah.
Interesting thing was both of those they were installing battery backup too. So, instead of using a generator, you use a battery backup during a power outage. It's getting less expensive, and the state of New Hampshire provides a couple $1,000 of incentive for putting.
What's the range? So how long are you backed up if you've got a backup battery?
Depends on the size of the battery.
But generally, like, would you remember what they put in, or,
I remember someone mentioning that it would cover them for a couple days.
okay,
Yep. It's actually, I'm trying to think, maybe it's Eversource has an arrangement to, the reason they would want to support the batteries is they will then, you have to agree to supply energy to the grid during a brownout risk time, like hottest days in the summer when.
oh, that's interesting, okay.
So they give you an incentive to buy the battery as long as you will feed the grid with some percentage of your battery
Huh.
savings.
As someone who lives near people with generators and someone who doesn't have one, I would love if we went to that model, because generators are so loud and obnoxious.
Yep.
And I would, especially when everything's quiet and peaceful. It's like
Yes.
immediately they turn on, it's so annoying.
They come on automatically. That's how
Right.
I know there's a power outage.
Yeah,
often
exactly,
is when I hear my
exactly.
neighbor's generator
Right.
kick in.
Oh, that's very interesting. So they'll be at the expo. It's just gonna be really,
Well, it's power outage when my kid tells me, the internet's out. Yeah, and so is everything else.
yeah, right. Sure.
Et cetera. I'm just taking a few minutes. Put in abbreviations so I can continue here.
Sure.
Okay, Safety Complex Solar Grant update is number 6, the last, unless we have any other business to bring up. It's complicated, but we're lucky that Jack Dearborn seems to be really taking it on, and we're working together. The questions that we have to solve are, we need to have a warrant article that'll convince the town that it's okay to pay the money up front because we will be getting it back. But trying to determine how much money we might have to put out at any one time, is it $60,000, is it $30,000? We don't know yet. I did determine from New Hampshire DOE, contact's name is Paige Relf, R-E-L-F, that it could take us between 2 to 4 weeks to get the money back from, if we have an invoice, proof that it's been paid, we get it to DOE, could still be 2 or even 4 weeks before, depending on where they are in their,
It still seems
cycles.
pretty quick for a state agency to get back to you.
So hopefully we can move ahead with it and have that cash flow guaranteed, because it will, as Jack is putting into the proposal for the CIP committee this Friday, it should save the town around $10,000 a year in energy costs over there at the safety complex. That will cover a little more than half is the prediction of the energy use.
Nice. That sounds great.
So that's where we are with that. I'll have to keep, with Jack's help and the board's help and Beth, our finance person here at town office, we're just gonna keep kind of coaxing it along and hope that we can get it through. I will be asking for help with an education effort on, maybe we should do a mailing to townspeople to explain it, get it succinctly explained why this is a good idea, how it'll save the town.
Where in the world, I would
around the
use
world.
that.
Yep. Yep, and maybe could we use the Ware Facebook page? There were two of them, right?
Yeah, I guess you could reach out.
See if we can do it, just a little
Yeah.
posting. Okay. There's nothing to vote on either of those things. Any other business to come before this meeting?
I did catch an article in the Union Leader that the Bedford is going forward with community power.
Oh, that is interesting, because it isn't a cost saver the rates at public service have gone up, but still, I've heard that the Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire can't beat that rate. They're still slightly
They're putting
above
it
it.
on a warrant article, I'm moving it forward.
Nice. I think it will save money, because I do believe that public service has kept their rates low to try to compete with community power.
And that's
No
what the article
question.
also said,
They
is the
did say
public, that Eversource is not going at full steam. They'll hold back the cost to try and alleviate community power, they don't like it.
Their job is now to distribute power, they don't, okay. So I'll just put in the minutes, Bo is moving ahead with community power.
Bedford,
Bedford.
Bedford, oh, okay.
Bo already did it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd be interested in that article if it's easy to forward or give a link to.
I'll do my best. We used to get the Union Leader, not anymore. I'll have to see what I can do.
Okay, Steve Bartlett. All right, if there's no other business to take up, I'd,
Move that we adjourn the meeting.
it sounds like an excellent idea.
Second that.
Has be moved to join. Benji second. Any discussion?
Think we're good?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, we adjourn at 7.
7:41?
Yeah,
Wait,
41.
Well,
it's hard to read in the reflection.
7:42, actually.
7:42. Good for us.